The ocean does not keep secrets, it buries them. In December of 1900, 20 miles off the rugged, storm-battered coast of Scotland, lies a desolate cluster of black volcanic rocks known as the Flannan Isles. They are jagged, tooth-like structures rising violently from the freezing Atlantic waves, unforgiving, isolated, completely uninhabited by the living. The only sign of human existence on this forgotten rock is a towering stone lighthouse. It was built to guide ships through some of the most treacherous waters in the world. To keep that light burning, 3 experienced keepers were stationed there: Thomas Marshall, James Ducat, and Donald MacArthur. These were not men easily frightened. They were seasoned mariners hardened by decades of brutal weather, isolation, and the crushing weight of loneliness that comes with guarding the sea. They knew the rules, they knew the risks, and they knew how to survive. But on the night of December 15th, a passing steamer ship named the Arctur cut through the thick, freezing fog. As the captain looked out toward the Flannan Isles to guide his ship, his blood ran cold. The horizon was pitch black. The great lighthouse, a beacon that was supposed to be visible for miles, was completely dark. No warning flare was shot into the sky. No emergency flag was raised. There was only a suffocating, heavy silence hanging over the ocean. Due to bad weather, it took 11 agonizing days for a relief ship, the Hesperus, to finally reach the island to investigate. As the ship drew closer to the rocky shore, Captain James Harvey blew the ship's steam whistle, a deafening blast that echoed across the cliffs. He expected the 3 keepers to come running down to the landing platform, eager for supplies and human contact. But nobody came. The landing dock was completely empty. Captain Harvey ordered a relief keeper, Joseph Moore, to row ashore alone and investigate. As Moore stepped onto the slick, wet rocks, he felt a sudden, freezing dread wash over him. The island felt completely dead. Moore climbed the steep, narrow stone steps leading up the cliffside toward the lighthouse complex. Every step felt heavier than the last. The wind howled through the rocks, sounding almost like human screams, but when he reached the main entrance, the silence returned, thick and absolute. He opened the heavy outer door. It wasn't stuck or broken, it was unlocked. Moore stepped into the kitchen. The air inside was completely stagnant and freezing, carrying a strange, metallic smell. He called out the names of his friends: Thomas, James, Donald. His voice echoed off the cold stone walls, met only by the ticking of a dead clock. He looked around the room, and what he saw made him freeze. The kitchen table was set. Plates of food sat untouched, now covered in mold. A single wooden chair lay flipped over on its side on the stone floor, as if someone had pushed back from the table in a state of absolute, frantic terror. Moore walked down the narrow corridor to the sleeping quarters. The unmade beds were cold to the touch. He checked the tool racks. The men's heavy oilskin coats, their only protection against the freezing Scottish winter storms, were still hanging on their hooks. Think about that. 2 of the 3 men had rushed out into the freezing, storm-battered night without their heavy jackets. In December, in the North Atlantic, leaving without your coat is a death sentence. Whatever caused them to run out of that lighthouse was far more terrifying than the prospect of freezing to death in the dark. Moore ran back down the cliff to the ship, gasping for air, and alerted the captain. A full search party was assembled. They combed every square inch of the tiny, barren island. They checked the deep caves, the cliffs, and the storage lockers. There was no sign of a struggle, no blood, no bodies washed up on the rocks. The 3 men had simply ceased to exist. As the search party investigated the lighthouse further, they uncovered the final piece of the puzzle and the most terrifying detail of all. They found the lighthouse logbook, the daily journal where the keepers recorded weather conditions, oil levels, and ship sightings. The entries, written by Thomas Marshall, started out normal. But as the days progressed, the handwriting grew shaky, frantic, and erratic. On December 12th, Marshall wrote, "Severe gale, more violent than anything I have seen in 20 years. James Ducat is very quiet. Donald MacArthur is crying." Read that entry again carefully. Donald MacArthur was an old, battle-hardened mariner, a man known for his toughness and fierce temper. Why was a man like that sitting in a lighthouse, weeping in fear over a storm? On December 13th, the entry grew even stranger. "The storm continued through the night. We have all been praying." 3 veteran lighthouse keepers, safely locked behind walls of stone 6 feet thick, sitting in the dark, weeping and praying to God for deliverance from a storm. The final entry was written on the afternoon of December 15th. It simply read, "Storm past, sea calm, God is over all." That night the lighthouse went dark, but here is the twist that turns this mystery into pure horror. When investigators returned to the mainland and checked the official meteorological logs for that entire week, they made a chilling discovery. On December 12th, 13th, and 14th, there was no storm in the area. The skies were clear, the ocean was calm. The brutal, terrifying storm that drove 3 grown men to their knees in tears existed only on that island. Or perhaps the storm wasn't made of wind and rain at all.